Welcome back, everybody, to the ND and Free podcast, brought to you by the ND and Free community. We are a worldwide community of NDers who are on a mission to free ourselves of the shame we feel, free from the burden of trying to fit in, and free from the burnout caused from not honouring our needs. Join us each week as we talk all things neurodivergence, including ADHD, autism, AuDHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and more. From our one-to-one interviews on the ND Thrive Guide show to our flagship ND and Free show, which we'll listen to today, we hope these conversations help fellow NDers across the world to honour their truth. Together, we can move towards a world where we can thrive in a way that best serves our neurotype and supports our nervous system. We are ND and Free. All right, guys, here we are, episode 2 of the ND and Free shows. There are 2 shows, if you didn't know already. So you've got the girl panel and then the boy panel, we'll call it that, which means then when we get questions, everybody, we can tailor it to the right co-hosts. So the idea of this show is to dive into at least one topic each time, and then the rest of the show is all about your questions, all our listeners' questions from Patreon and other locations as well. So we'll dive into some of that, and there's a fun quiz at the end of the show, all based on special interests, which can be linked to ND, of course. So firstly, let's introduce our co-hosts. You're going to get used to these guys over the next year or so, hopefully. So first up, we have Dan Katona. Welcome, Dan. How are you feeling about doing this? And you're doing a lot of stuff yourself as well, but I want to thank you so much for your friendship and saying yes to my idea.
No, thank you. Say this all started from you reaching out to me. Not that long ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to do this. It's been since you pitched the idea to me. It's been something I've been looking forward to. So it's good to get the ball rolling with it.
Yeah, definitely. I had 4 people in mind, and you all said yes. So I couldn't ask for any more, really. Otherwise, it's a bit awkward if someone finds out they weren't the first pick. So I'm glad that happened. And I encourage everybody to check out Dan's social media. All the links are in the description. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show. Amazing TikTok lives he's doing for supporting NDers all over the globe. So amazing stuff happening there. And speaking of someone that's helping the community with his amazing support groups in his local area, we have Darren Cammock on the show. So welcome back, Darren. We've had a few episodes together now, haven't we? But it just feels special to have a fellow podcaster as well co-hosting this space with me. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for asking for me to join you guys in this little journey. It's an honor, and it's great. It's great to meet Dan as well. So it's nice. And it's, like I always say, it's good to talk, and the more we do things like this, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I encourage everybody to go check out your podcast. It's brilliant. I've been on the show, and how you manifested the support group stuff. And I know it's a lot of work and it's a lot of pressure, but it's incredible what you're doing, both of you, really, because you're creating spaces for people. And then we don't have to all go off and do our counselling degrees and all this. People can hold a space in whatever way that looks. So we should never be afraid to try and create something that can support people, which is incredible. But let's get some context. Anybody that's listening for the first time, I know, Dan, a lot of your TikTok live crew are going to be listening, so they know you well, but it's for a lot of people, it's their first time listening to the show. So what's your current ND status, I guess, and what does 2026 look like as far as meds and things like that? What's in brief, what is your status?
So I am diagnosed with autism and severe combined ADHD. So sort of the worst of the worst, if you want to put it like that, or the sort of the one that is, I suppose, hardest to deal with in terms of ADHD, and obviously the combined diagnosis of having autism and ADHD being 2 almost opposite neurotypes that clash, and can be a struggle. But as many, I always try and emphasize this, as with any sort of neurodivergence. Yes, there are struggles. There are. I don't call them symptoms. I refer to them as traits. But as hard as it can be, there's also sort of you got your pros and your cons. Basically, there are some sort of benefits in a way that in terms of like hyper focus and special interests, which we obviously spoke a bit about on my live last night. And my special interests happen to become neurodivergence. So I have looked so much into particularly autism and ADHD, being the one that I have. which has then enabled me to be able to create a live, go live on TikTok, and hold what we would call the ND drop-in. And if I didn't have my special interests, I wouldn't have created a space that is helping to build and bridge communities and provide help for people. So that's really what I want to do. So moving forward with 2026 is just keep growing that. In terms of sort of like goals with my ND, in terms of my neurodivergence themselves, I am hopefully going to be starting my titration for my ADHD medication within the next month or two. So we will see how that goes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, this would be a beautiful place where you're comfortable to share that journey, you know, as on the show as well as you go through it. And I know, you know, with Darren and your use of medication, it's going to be really interesting to see how you two, how it's all been on this journey. Yeah. And I'm not likely to go down that road, so it's like, oh, can you two pitch me over time that it's a good option, which I'm sure it would be. It probably changed my life in many ways, but it's a long story. We'll talk about it as the series goes on. So thanks so much. I was on your live last night. I joined in, I think, about 4 hours in to your 5 hours stint. I loved it. So amazing. You know, big shout out to Nadine, Tank Girl. A lot of your people are just fantastic human beings. So loved it. So yeah, thanks, Dan. That's great. So Darren, yeah, I know obviously medication being a big part of your life in the last year or so. So yeah, tell us what you are. Yes, what's your ND status and what does medicine?
What am I? I'm ADHD. I'm predominantly inattentive. I'm on medication, which has changed a lot for me. I think I'm one of the success stories, I guess. I think in a lot of ways, definitely one of the 80%ers who get on with it, not the 20%ers who don't. But it's the main thing for me with medication is that it keeps me calmer. I don't get so much dysregulation, which I never used to before. But life changed, children, a lot more noise at home. Never realized I had sensory issues until then. And that's what led me down to get sort of assessed and everything. So I can last a lot longer. I can think more clearer regarding putting strategies into place to help myself. And I can read, which is a big thing for me. I can always read, but I can never remember what I've read, so I don't bother reading. But medications allow me to actually read books now and remember what I've read, or most of what I've read. You know, it's not like photographic memory or anything, but I can remember the title and I can remember what it's about and general things about the book, which is great, which I've never been able to do before. So, you know, my education has been rubbish purely because I can't remember anything. So this is a big one, and my working memory. That's the third thing it's really helped. So which is good. So, but it's pros and cons with the medication. You know, I've had side effects. I've had to get sorted out, and I've had to change meds and things like that. But yeah, I don't want to go without my meds because they work well for me and make my life a lot better.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's interesting one, isn't it? Big key points there. Yeah, you may have to switch and work through these things. It may have an effect on your body. And I'm also, as the series goes on, we'll explore what it looks like with different neurotypes. If you're inattentive, what does meds do with that? What do meds do with the combined? You know, it'd be really interesting actually, hyperactivity, like which ones do what, and what are the things you need to take with it to suppress certain other things. I just don't have the energy or capacity to start thinking about that and how that all looks, but that's for me to figure out. But it's interesting. I'm glad there's such a mix here, you know, with Dan, you're about to start, Dan, you've been on for a while, and me not going for it. So it's going to be really, really interesting. So amazing stuff. So you're going to get to know these guys a lot more over the series, over the year. So we're going to dive into some of our topics here today. What we're going to do, like I said to you before, everyone, is that we're going to roughly have a topic or two. So today we're going to look at overstimulation, and this can apply, I think, to most neurotypes to a certain extent. And I know that I'm actually another really important question before we do that, in fact, is as far as the autism side goes. So Dan, you've been diagnosed on both sides of this neurotype battle, I suppose. But I personally think there may be a chance of autism potentially with some of the stuff I've got. So I'm looking at having a screening first, see how it goes before I dive into any assessments. So Darren, where do you sit on that? Do you have any suspicions, or do you feel it is pure ADHD? It's very important we just check in on that.
Was that Darren or Dan?
Darren, sorry.
Sorry.
I need to give nicknames. Nicknames. Like D Dog and D Bomb or something. But no, yeah. I can't. I think we have chat about this, Darren, but I can't remember if you are on the fence or not.
Um, with the sensories, I don't. I may have, well, I know I have some sort of characteristics of autism, but not enough, as they said, to cross that line, so to speak. But for me, it doesn't really matter. I've got my diagnosis, and the way I look at it is, right, okay, I'm ADHD, got the meds. This is what I struggle with, and this is what I do to try and help. That's it. So I don't need to know any more than I don't think anything else is gonna kind of help me in that way. But yeah, I there's a lot that I didn't realize, and I thought about this question you gave us, and for me, it's like, well, know yourself, get to know yourself, and get to try and understand what's going on, which is what I did, because there were things that I didn't realize I was struggling with until it went to the point where I couldn't handle it. And then you start to sort of, I guess, look back in your history and what you do, why you do things, why you don't do things, how you react to things, and you're putting all the pieces together, and you sort of add it all up, and you're like, well, actually, yeah, that is a bit of an issue for me. And once you start educating yourself about it and looking at it more deeply, you can just tend to understand what is going on. I didn't realize, for instance, and now I'm waffling and I love it, that I either waffle on and bore everyone's stupid, or I can't get my words out. There's no in between.
Exactly the same. Exactly.
I didn't know I had to sound. I didn't know. But when I look back at everything, it's Christmases when I was younger. There's always times I had to go out into the hallway or onto the stairs to play because we had like loads of people in the house. I had to get away from that to calm down. I didn't know why, and that every Christmas, I busy places. I don't like busy places anyway. But I'm absolutely exhausted afterwards, even if I'm not saying anything or doing anything, just trying to listen to people, and then I have to then have silence afterwards. Otherwise, things get too much. When there's a lot of things going on, a lot of sound around me, I find it really hard to think and work things out. And those are the things I started to realize. That is sound somehow is playing a part in why I was so miserable at certain times, and why I couldn't do things, and why I was struggling so much at certain times. So I started to look at it, and I realized, yeah, I do have some sensory issues there. And then putting the things into place, well, I've been reading about what you can do, makes a hell of a difference, and I think that's be a good thing for anyone to do, to look at stuff like that, neurodivergent or not. If you're struggling with something, try and work it out. What is it, that you can do to relieve that pressure, relieve that stress, relieve that, that struggle. And then you when you put things into place, things start to get a little bit easier. So it's not just for ND people. It's for everyone, I guess. But when you don't know you're neurodivergent, you kind of just get on with stuff. I just cracked on with everything, just it is what it is. I struggle here. I hate this. I'm no good at this. I'm useless. Da, 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 da. Just crack on with it. But when you start to think about it, and then you get assessed, or you go down that kind of line, that thought process, and you start looking at things, and then you start looking deeper and deeper and deeper into things about your life, and you start to realize a lot of things, and it becomes interesting as well, because it is your life. When you start putting things together, and then you put things into place to help, and they help a lot. Well, I'm onto something here, So no matter what anyone says, I'm onto something here. This is working for me. Yeah. So, and as textbook as it is, I can't even remember what your question was.
No, you nailed it. Not only did you lean us nicely into overstimulation, which is the topic you also talked and responded about autism as well. Because the reason I'm saying that, because I head over to you, Dan, in a second, is that my partner she was diagnosed ADHD, then a year and a half later got the autism diagnosis. She's been off work for a year and a half with all kinds of strange inflammation, chronic pain stuff, what looks like fibromyalgia. It looks like a complete autistic burnout, which looks very different to traditional chronic fatigue. They do look differently. It's highly sensory inputted. So she gets overstimulated in what we consider to be a sensory autistic more looking way, whereas my overstimulation tends to be a lot more go, 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 driven by a motor, burning my brain to smithereens. I'm exhausted and wired, but instead of taking a break, I'll scan or watch a film or do this. And for some reason, I'm hooked in continuing to be stimulated when I'm overstimulated. That's my natural thing to do, rather than taking a break, going for a walk. Doesn't come as natural. So if that feels different to what she's experiencing. So Dan, with the AuDHD side of things and overstimulation, is it obvious to see if those things are different, or is it just a big pool of the two creating a version of your overstimulation? Just what, if that makes sense, what does it look like?
So me being overstimulated is I think a lot of it's the autism side. I believe obviously it's very hard to know. It's but I believe a lot of it's sort of the autism side. I've sort of learnt to I can't think of the right word. I said it last night on the live. Prevention is better than cure. So I am aware that many situations I can get overstimulated anywhere, anytime. But I know there's certain situations that are more likely to become more overstimulated if I'm out in public. Again, if I go out shopping, for example, just doing the food shop. Very aware, so I will always have my hair down as Darren was talking. I will say I hope I'm not distracting while I'm playing with my hair, or I know that I was doing my face was twitching and there was sort of slight tics with that as well. These are all stims. These are all stims. As I said on the live last night, I'm a massive advocate for people stimming. If you're going to stim. I don't think anyone should suppress it. So I'm not going to apologise for stimming. I will say I hope it wasn't distracting anyone, but yeah, I'm not going to apologise because this is me self-regulating. And so yeah, if I go shopping, I make sure I'll have my hair down. So if I've got a hand free, I can trim my hair. I've got like fidget rings, so I can sit there and do that. I wear sunglasses most places, whether that be indoors, outdoors, basically as long as it's safe to do so. So I'm not going to wear sunglasses at night while I'm driving, for example, but I'll wear sunglasses indoors. I'll have my sort of loop earplugs. Obviously other earplugs are available. And or I'll wear headphones, and even if I've just got headphones, I've just got a podcast or a YouTube video or music playing low. Sometimes it's loud, because that's the other thing though. I can deal with loud noises if I'm in control of it. So I can deal with loud music because it's my music. I know the music. I know what's coming up, and I'm in control of it. external loud noises. So if I go out shopping, there's so many noises, and I'm not in control of any of that. So that's the difference there. So yeah, say prevention is better than cure. But I know what the triggers are. I know it's loud noises. I know it's bright lights. I know that lots of people around, because it's not so much that there's people, it's just there's a lot of movement. And that's the overstimulating part. It's not necessarily that I don't like people being around. It's just everywhere there's people, that person's walking there, that person's reaching up for something over there, that kid is running around there. There's stuff going on, and my brain can't just focus on what's in front of me or what I need to focus on. My brain will pick up on all of these movements, plus all of these lights, plus the fact that all of these people are making sound, plus the sound of everyone's footsteps, plus the conversation that's going on 3 aisles that way, but plus the sound of someone scanning their items and those beeps, plus the sound of all the refrigerators, plus I can hear the electricity buzzing through the lights overhead. So it's all of those, and it's too much, because again, with autism, I don't know if it's the same with ADHD. One of you two might be able to help with that, but I know specifically with autism, it's sort of like, I refer to it as how a baby is. So when you've got a baby, for the first few months of their life, they're not able to distinguish between what's important and what's not in terms of sounds and movements. So they will track every sound, every movement, and that's why babies are startled all the time. That's why everything startles them, because their brains haven't learnt to just focus on what's important and to ignore background sounds. With autism, our brains sort of never learnt to do that fully. Obviously, to an extent, it does, but that's another reason why we get so overwhelmed and overstimulated, because our brains can't. Like right now, for example, I have made sure my house is as quiet as possible, but I can hear the birds. All the windows are completely shut, but I can hear the birds still tweeting out there. I can hear my fridge buzzing. I can hear my cat with her bell upstairs. I can hear the sound of the heating going through the house. I can hear the sound of the electricity buzzing through the lights. I've got an extension lead next to me now. I can hear that buzzing. So in what most people would experience as a perfectly silent household, that's what 5-6 things I've just said that I can hear. And know, like, a lot of neurotypical people and a lot of neurodivergent people that aren't as sensitive to these things as me would never pick up on it. But to me, this is already overwhelming. So hence, I've been sat here stimming and my face been twitching, which is another stim. And probably been seeing, I've been looking around and just sort of keeping doing what I need to do to regulate myself. And now my cat's crying. I don't know if you heard her. Probably because my son's at school and she hates it when he's not here. So she cries at his bedroom door. But yeah, so and very much like Darren said, I don't actually remember what the question was. But I hope I answered something.
Yes, you did. This show is never going to be about me, giving you an exam and giving you a score at the end of each question. But there's something you said there, which I haven't really thought about. Is a very good word for it. It's called, filtering. So think about ND. If you want to get rid of all the terms, all the words, RSD, all the other stuff, and just say it's an issue of regulation. Your body's natural ability to regulate all systems within your body. We're having to constantly tend to our body, tend to our mind. We have to keep tending to it to get us back into regulation and to back on track. If we don't do that, essentially there's an element of chaos there, and our body just doing its own thing, but it's not able to regulate itself naturally with chemicals and certain neural pathways, things like that. So tending is a big part of the ND experience. But think about that regulation from outside of ourselves. So being able to filter noise, filter sounds, filter light, and our brain absorbing that information, processing information, telling our body where it is in time and space. All of this is affected. So we have our internal, so I'm going to be a bit sciencey here. We've got our internal regulation issues, but then we've got outside of us, like Dan's talking about, this filtering. And can you imagine, he's just given a snapshot of that. Imagine going to supermarket and not being able to filter sensory input on all levels, from what your eyes are doing, your ears are doing, everything else. Just imagine that, guys. And I'm sure a lot of us can because we're listening. But for neurotypicals that are listening, can you see how that would be shit? Let's be honest. Really, really rough, really, really hard. Let's just be honest with this. And I'm the same as you, Dan. I work in a supermarket, which is ironic, and Dan does as well. It's quite an ironic space to be in, but I work at night, right? So, and I work in a fridge. So I've got a lot of fan noise, right? Doing that. But I've managed to somehow sculpt a job there where I'm on my own most of the time, organizing stuff, which my brain absolutely loves, and working through deliveries. So I've managed to find a place in that place. But the local co-op, there's really small ones where I don't know how they cram in so many fridges. And you're trying, oh, excuse me, oh, sorry. If it's busy, I just turn around and go home again. I'm not going in there. If I'm having to get past people, I don't like people to touch me in those sort of spaces. You go, beep, beep. Thank you for shopping at the co-op. Then someone going, oh, have you got my Amazon parcel? And then they're going off to get that. And I just want to rip my skin off and scream. So that's what makes me think maybe there's an autistic side going on with my
Owen,
ND.
do you want to ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Just while it's in my mind, you said about obviously working within the fridges or the freezers or something. So you've got the fans going. Do you find that actually helps though? Because I been looking into sort of a lot of like how a lot of ND people like white noise, or more specifically brown noise. Brown noise tends to be, a lot of people tend to think it's white noise that they like, but a lot of people actually prefer brown noise because it's a lower frequency, so it's it can be a lot more soothing. I know a lot of ND people, myself included, sleep with a fan on. Like some people can't sleep with anything on and have to have complete silence. I like to have a fan on, or in the summer I have my air conditioning unit on, because it's that sort of soothing sort of background noise, and it helps eliminate other noises. Do you find that working in that helps, or do you find it quite overwhelming?
I don't know. That's an interesting one, really. The first thing is just dealing with the cold, really. But people come and go, oh my God. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fine. So I'm not sure what that's all about. I get quite hot. My body struggles to regulate temperature. So if I go from a very hot house into a cold environment, I start itching and getting weird pins and needle sensation. It's very hard to explain.
Well, something on my TikTok about that, which I can send to you later if you want when we come out of this. But it explains a lot about temperature regulation within neurodivergent people and why we struggle. So I've done some research into that. I've got some info. Remind me. Okay. I say that's great. Me. One of us has got to remember. But sorry.
See, I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm sitting. Dan, because obviously we just met. When you're talking, when Noma's talking, I'm sitting there with a big smile on my face. My head is going, yes, that's me. And there's so many things you were saying, and yourself, Owen. I'm like going, yes, exactly. And it's crazy. Sorry, I just cut to just say that because I was bursting to say it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's important. We're co-hosts. Remember, this is going to be weird because I've hosted for so long, and I want you guys to feel like you can jump in. So that's quite a fun journey. But just to finish off what you're saying there, Dan, with the fridge, I don't really notice the noise, to be honest. And I listen to podcasts pretty much the entire time. I can listen to hours and hours of it. But sometimes I get really overstimulated from the constant chatter in my head. Not my head, going into my head from my headphones of the people. So sometimes I'll put some banging tunes on, a bit of house. I do a little dance, but I'm very hyper aware about when I'm perceived, so I'll look out at the door there, make sure no one comes in as I'm dancing away or having a little sing song. And then sometimes I need that noise you're talking about, Dan. I need to turn all of that off in my headphones actually and just listen to the buzz, and it just seems to soothe my thoughts down. It just means my brain is able to focus on something. I think there's something about silence which is very beautiful, but also the silence can be problematic because you've got nothing to hook into, and therefore the brain ramps up ready for story time. Literally. So yeah, it's interesting, but I think we can find, you talk about tools and fidget stuff and magnets that are my favorite, is knowing when to do things and planning it well in advance. So if I go to the co-op, it opens at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. I mean, what the hell's that about? But if I go there at 6:30 in the morning, I'm going to went in there. it's heavenly. So the shop's mine. So I just go then. So unfortunately, and maybe in a good way, as NDs, we have to just make accommodations. We have to go at a different time. And Darren, as someone that's been, I know you worked in gyms for years as well, so that's a whole other thing as well. But in a supermarket work as well. How is it for you? And one big question is, do you think there's part of when you know the store and you're working there, you're kind of in more control of it. You know that you're going to say, be on a till, or you're going to be doing this. You know what to expect. You can sort of prep what could happen, noises that could happen. Whereas if you're a customer, it's free reign. Anything could happen. Is there any
Yeah.
element of control that might help us with this stuff?
I think, yeah, for me, I think when you know the shop, I mean, obviously, I worked there just over 3 years now, and it's like, so I wouldn't say it's like home, but I know I feel comfortable there as much as I can be comfortable somewhere. But like you were saying, Dan, when it's busy, walking around, because I work on the tills, so I've got a barrier. Okay, so I've got a barrier, and no matter how busy it is, I've just got a line of people, and I just go as quick as they want me to go, or slow as they want me to go, and it's all okay because no pressure from anything else. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't have to navigate anything. It's just the person in front of me I'm dealing with. But if I then have to go and walk through the shop and it's busy, I hate that because of the chaos of everyone walking in different directions, and you have to navigate people stopping and slowing down. It's like it's just so much, and that's the same with me everywhere. When there's not the chaos, like we go on holiday. If we go on holiday, going through the airport and everything, I hate every minute of it. I've got everything with me. My wife's holding my hand, just trying to calm me down. I can't think. I just need to get through it. When I'm sitting on a plane, no problem because there's no chaos because everyone's just sat there. And then afterwards, you get out chaos again. So but yeah. I mean, when I go shopping, I'll go shopping at a certain time. When it is quieter. Usually, if I go to what I was going to say, the name of the superstore, but I'm not going to. I'll do it after my shift, and I work in the evening, so it's again quieter. So, but yeah, there's a lot of things you need to sort of factor in to make it easier for yourself. Why go? I don't know why people want to go at a busy time. That just makes no sense. It's just horrible. In every shape or form, there's just a horrible thing. So yeah, I need it quiet. My life needs peace and quiet. And what you were saying, Dan, about the noise, I've only realized you've been reading up on the different noises because, like everyone else, it's like white noise. Everything's white noise. That's not normal noise, it's white noise. And I think it's pink noise is what I like. Rain.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I listen to most of all. So when I'm reading, and there's people in the house, I'll put my headphones on and I'll listen to rain, bit of thunder or whatever like that, but just mainly sort of rain, and that helps keep me calm, and I don't focus on it, which is nice. If I listen to nice, my favorite songs, and then I'm going to struggle to read and listen to the lyrics, and my head is going to be going all over the place. I'm going to be remember the lyrics, and I'm not going to remember what I'm reading, and it's no. So yeah. So the noise can make a big difference. The fans and things like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's kind of, you said, we talked about at the beginning, it's just about knowing ourselves really, and the amount of self-awareness, self-reflection, and understanding how a body works is vital, I think. And when you're not coming from a background of knowledge or training in any of that, or knowing the language, especially when you're first diagnosed, it's very hard to know where to begin. That's where community comes in. You listen to other people talking about it and going, okay, yeah, that language makes sense to me. So that's why it's so important that we do all the things that we do. And it's something you said, Dan, at the beginning of this sort of topic, which I think is really important to acknowledge, which is this sense of hypervigilance, and scanning our environment. It's happening kind of in real time. We don't really have much control over it, and it's a natural thing humans have. They call it neuroception as well. So neuroception is where your nervous system is picking up on cues from its environment. So neuroception to other people. So when people seem a bit off, or their body language is slightly not quite right, and your system goes, warning. That is a natural thing. Our vagus nerve system, our polyvagal, as they call it, all of that system is doing that, but we kind of like have that on supercharge. So we're quite useful people. If, let's say, Walking Dead or 28 Days Later, say we're in a zombie apocalypse, you're probably going to want to have a little cheeky ND with you who is going to be able to scan. In that way, it's quite useful, and it allows us to stay safe, and it allows us, it's in that way, it's useful. But most of the time, for me personally, it's really annoying, and it's really hard then just to enjoy crowds, or like you said, people move in different ways. So I think this hypervigilance, we'll talk about in another show, is really important to acknowledge, because it's not you that's doing this. It's like kind of just happening. Your body's just doing it, and you're having to somehow filter it yourself. I mean, it's quite exhausting. I think that's why going for a coffee with a friend in a busy cafe, you come home and you need a couple of hours, in the dark, or no sensory sound. And just a prime example about, if you know that, you know how to plan. I used to go to football a lot in my 20s. So I was a Chelsea fan, but I lived in Bath. So I had to somehow get to London, get through the tube, no thank you, go to the stadium. That's 44,000 people in one space, and all the noise and everything. The first few times it was terrible, but then I figured it out. Okay, I'm going to drive. I am never going to go on a train. So I'm going to drive. I'm going to park in Ealing. Very small car park. I know how it works. It's super cheap. I jump on a tube right at the beginning of the line. So I get to pick where I sit. I get to plan it. I then walk 2 tube stations away from the stadium so I can enjoy getting my body moving and walking that journey while it's quiet. It gets busier and busier and busier, so I can prep for that. Get in there about 45 minutes earlier than most people, get my seat, settle in, very quiet, starts to build up. I bring food with me. I am not going at halftime to the stands to get something. So I shape this whole thing, leave later, drive back at night when it's quiet. And I loved it. I went for years. I had a season ticket. And even though it's very loud and very noisy, I had my same seat, because I was a season ticket holder, same seat, amazing view. I kind of got to know people around me, which meant I could do something I never thought I could and enjoy a passion of mine. But it took a hell of a lot of prep and a lot of planning. But once I did it, it's done. So Dan, how does that sort of thing work for you? This sense of, are you able to start to plan things like going to a gig? You've been to a gig recently. So how do you do the gig stuff? How does that even work for someone with that level of hypervigilance?
So I'm actually going to a gig next week as well, and I've already been working out. So the people I'm going with, found out how everyone's going. So the last gig I went to, I had a friend that I was going with who lives near the venue. So drove to theirs, and then we travelled together. But it was very short, like a short train journey, short tube journey. But this was in the evening. Like much later in the evening, so there weren't many people around at all. So I knew there wouldn't be that many people, so I felt okay. But even then, I still had my loops, I still had all my sensory stuff, all of my aids and stuff to help. The one I'm going to next week, again, I'm looking. So I know a couple of friends are traveling by train, but it will be on a Friday. Peak train time, it's just, so that's not happening. That's just not happening, and I know that. So I've looked. I'm looking at. There's apps that because there's no parking at the venue, but there are apps that people, you can either pay for like a parking space in a car park, but some people, like quite near venues and stuff, hire out their driveways and stuff like that. And so I found that really useful. If I want to drive somewhere that there's no parking or really bad parking, jump on any of these apps or websites, and you can tend to park quite near a venue, and it's just a short walk by, and it doesn't typically cost that much either. And that's been so helpful. That has been so helpful, because that way I know that I can just get into my car, have some me time on the drive there, drive back, even though drives themselves can be stressful because of having to be aware, obviously, focus so much on the roads and the directions where you're going, all that sort of stuff. And obviously that's where the ADHD and the autism sort of can clash, especially ADHD and driving. I'm sure we all know I'm sure we can all appreciate how that can be a challenge within itself. But yeah, once you get there, you park up in this space that you've already paid for, and then I know that I can go to the gig. And again, the gig itself will be fine because it's something that I want to do. I'm going there to listen to loud music. So, and I'm going there to be involved in an atmosphere, to be around, probably, I don't know how many people the venue holds, but fairly decent sized venue. So, a good few thousand people. But we're all there for the same thing, to listen to the same music. We've all got the same interests. And I will be with a group of friends as well. My group of friends are all very aware of my neurodivergence. So they already know that there might be times that it does get a bit overwhelming. So I'm going to nip out. I'm going to nip over to that corner. I'm going to nip over to. Quite often, it's like, I'm just going to nip to the toilet, and sometimes I don't even need to go to the loo. It's just go in there, just have a few minutes away from everyone, to myself, and then come back. But because it's something that I want to do, I know that I'm more likely to feel fine and not so overwhelmed, because it's a planned event, and we're going there to see a band that we all want to see, and then I get to come out, I get to walk down to my car, and I get to drive straight to my door. I don't have to worry about trains and people and drunk people who are not known for being particularly quiet or aware of boundaries. So that's how I deal with things like that. And yes, definitely, I think I'd say to anyone that if you are someone that likes to drive somewhere, you go in somewhere that you don't know about parking, look on websites that do that people hire out their driveway, their garage. There might be a very little known parking space that's residents only, but someone's hired out their space. It's been a massive help, massive help. And I think as well, just not putting pressure on myself. We've spoken before about the fact that I'm refusing to put pressure on myself. Now I've planned to go to this gig. I've actually planned to go to a gig the following night as well, but with the full intent of not going if I don't feel up to it. I used to be very much like, but I've paid for this ticket, so I have to go. What's the point for me now? Like, well, what's the point if I'm very stressed, very, very overwhelmed, I'm burnt out, whatever it is, or I feel like I've got a meltdown coming on, then going to any planned event just because I've said I would, I've paid for the ticket or whatever, that's going to cause more stress. And I'm just doing it just because, like, the money's already spent. The way I try to see it now is the money's already spent. So whether I go or not, I'm not getting that money back. So the only thing that is going to change is how I feel. Now, if I go and I'm burnt out, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, and I just don't want to go, I'm going to feel all of those things a lot worse by the end of it. If I don't go, then I've got to have a bit more peace. So it's really about not putting pressure on myself and allowing myself to change my mind, which I think is a big thing for anyone, not just neurodivergent people, neurotypical people as well. That it's so hard to accept that you can change your mind and you can put yourself first, even if it means cancelling plans. Because the only thing that's going to change is how you feel. So that's my big things with stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think the most important part of all of everything we discussed here today, as we sort of wrap up on the topic, is that just because we have a certain neurotype and it plays out in certain ways doesn't mean that it's over for a lot of the things that we want to do. It may need to look different. We may need to make adjustments. And sometimes there are things we really won't be able to do, but can we do it in a sort of 50% version of it somehow? I don't know what that would look like for different people, but it's just to acknowledge that there is hope. What I think about diagnosis is hope. There's a lot of things that we feel, from grief to why, or okay, now I'm done, I'm ready, which is an interesting response as well. But I think it's hope, really. It gives us hope that we can learn things that we can do. to help ourselves so we can do what we enjoy. So a nice little sort of positive sort of finish for overstimulation, which is a big one. So, all right, guys, we're going to jump into our questions. Are we happy with our topic today? All done and dusted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely, good stuff. Okay, guys, these listeners to the show, and especially if you're a Patreon listener, let us know if in the long term you're going to be wanting shows where it's just a topic every so often, where we really go deep, or if you like the 50-50 split, or just a Q&A episode in of itself. So just let us know what you're kind of into, really. So, right, let's jump into some listener and patron questions. Very exciting. This is the bit I'm most excited about, because this is all about community, ND and Free. So we're not going to give necessarily like the answer and give you the big Hail Mary and the light bulb moment, but we're just going to reflect on our experiences, really, and hopefully something that we speak, something that we say, you're like, oh, okay, that is quite useful. So look at it that way. We're not here to give you answers. Help you find your own, as they would say in the coaching world. So let's dive into a few. So this is from TikTok, it's from Instagram, places like that. This is probably one of the last times we're really going to do this. The rest of it now is mostly going to happen on Patreon. So that's completely free, guys. Go to the show notes and you can join our Patreon page. And each week I'll say, hey guys, a couple of weeks, we've got our next episode with the guys. Do you have any questions? So come and sign up over there. It's free. You don't have to interact loads. I just want it in one place, away from, what the internet's like, away from fake accounts and bots and all that. So head on over and do that. You can find out more about our Patreon at the end of the episode. I've got a few cool little messages at the end that you can listen to find out more. So we have Catherine here on TikTok, and she says, how to parent neurodivergent children whilst battling your own ND symptoms. Often these two things can conflict. Guys, this is a whole episode, so we're just going to share a paragraph each, not a paragraph, you know what I mean, in verbal tone, on this one, because I put it right at the front of the queue, mostly because we're all parents in one shape or another. So it's perfect. We're the perfect group for this. So, Darren, what are your thoughts here about parenting a neurodivergent child? I guess sometimes maybe not, but in your case, ND child, your ND. I know you have worked a lot on this when I was coaching you through some stuff, but how does that look? How do you help yourself really as a parent?
I think for me, with the experience that I went through, is to learn about yourself. Okay, that's the first and foremost. Whatever's going on, know why and know what you can do about it. But then you need to kind of, how I term it is, well, for myself, really, I have to put myself as the priority to get sorted, to get my head right in the right place, to enable myself to make my family a priority. Sounds a bit weird, but it's like you've only got so many spoons. And if you've only got one spoon left, that's not a lot, really. You've got to get to a point where you've got enough to give to your child. And if I look back at how it was before, where I didn't know what was going on and I wasn't the focus, it was purely the child and the situations. No, that was never good. But now I've sort of, adapted my world and put things into place to make sure that I am okay, making sure I'm number one, then it gives me enough spoons or fills my jug up enough or gives me enough bandwidth, whatever you like to term it, to then give my, our son, 100%, and that's a big thing, because if I can't do that, if I can't put myself right, I have to have my space. I have to have my silence. I have to get away. Those little moments, if I can't get those, I've got like 5% to give. But giving myself those things, I've got, 50, 60, 70, 80% to give. And it makes a massive, massive difference to me. So don't be afraid of putting yourself first, because you're only doing it so you can put your child first. Yeah, if you're putting yourself first because you think you're the priority and that is it, and that's how you you look at it, that's a little bit different. But you're doing it so you can put your child first and give them something, because there's only so long you can run on empty.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, really, really powerful. And rather than respond to both of you, let's go straight to you, Dan. What are your thoughts as a father, especially a father in a sort of single family household as well? Cannot be easy. So yeah, tell us more about how you help yourself really to be the best dad you can be.
I definitely want to echo what Darren said, that putting yourself putting yourself first so you can put your child or children first is a big thing. And I think a good analogy of that would be on a plane. They always say that if for whatever reason the oxygen mask comes down, always put yours on first before you help your child put theirs on, because you can spend so much time trying to sort out your child's one that it's too late for you. Whereas if you sort yours out first, you can sort yours out and then you can better help your child. So I think that's a really sort of practical, real world example of sort of echoing what Darren said. Sorry, Darren, I just when you said that, that's the first thing that popped into my mind. So I just wanted to sort of mention that. And I think as well, so for me personally, again, as I say on my lives, and as you've already sort of said, Owen, like, not here to sort of tell people what to do and, this is what it's doing. I'm just literally speaking from my experience. I'm very honest with my son. I'm very honest with him. And I always have been. And since he was 4, he's 5 now. Since he was 4, maybe even when he was sort of 3, near 4, I've been honest with him that Daddy needs some daddy time. Okay, sweetheart. Like, especially if he's talking, so I suspect he is neurodivergent. I'm suspecting autism and ADHD. In the middle of trying to get assessments and stuff. But I sometimes if he's sort of going on a bit, I'm getting really overwhelmed. Rather than like when I feel I can get to that point and go, okay, enough. Just before that, I'm sort of okay, sweetheart, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Daddy needs some daddy time. Daddy needs a bit of quiet. Daddy might need to put his headphones on, or Daddy just needs to go upstairs for a few minutes. So would you like to play with your toys, do some drawing, watch TV, play in the garden? Would you like to do any of these things? Because Daddy needs a bit of daddy time, and Daddy's just feeling a little bit stressed. And I've put it in sort of age-appropriate terms for him. But I don't hide how I feel, and I don't hide that I need some me time, because I think it's very important that he understands that everyone feels like that, and I think that gives him permission to express how he feels more, and sort of give him the language that he needs, that he needs to express himself as well. And quite often I get quite touched out, so I can't have anyone touching me, I can't have anyone cuddling me, I can't have my cat on my lap. And quite often he'll come over to give me a cuddle, and he'll say, Papa, are you touched out? And if I go, yes, sweetheart. Okay, I won't give you a cuddle then. I'll just sit near you. And then you tell me when you're not touched out and I'll give you a cuddle. And so he now asks those questions. I've always been big on sort of consent and stuff anyway with him. So I never just force myself a kiss and a cuddle from him. I always ask, can I have a kiss? Can I have a cuddle? But now, rather than him just saying yes or no, sometimes he'll say, no, because I don't want to. Sometimes he'll be like, no, Daddy, because I'm really touched out. But you can have a kiss and a cuddle in a little bit. So he's now using that language, and he's putting himself first. And that's all come from me being honest about how I feel. So I'd echo what Darren said about always, when you can, put yourself first, look after yourself. Again, it's that expression, you can't pour from an empty cup. But yeah, also I explain to my son how I feel in an age-appropriate way. I give him the language. I explain that everyone needs their own time. And it's helped me because it's taken that pressure off, and it's taken that guilt off as well. Because if your child wants to come and cuddle up with you, as a parent, you want nothing more than that. But sometimes you just can't deal with it. And then you feel guilty for sort of telling them no. But now that I've given him an explanation in a way that he understands, he doesn't feel rejected. He just understands right now my daddy can't do that because he's feeling this way. And I know that because sometimes I feel like that. So our cat, sometimes he said, Daddy, I'm really touched out from Ivy right now. And he can't even bring himself to lift the cat off of him because he's just like really overwhelmed and really touched out. And so he'll tell me, and then I will move her. So yeah, that's something that I have found has helped so well, and it's made our relationship so much better because we both now have that understanding that sometimes we need our own time and space.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's such a complex and interesting topic, isn't it? Because yeah, you would do anything for your child and they will always come first, but to a certain point you become the kind of parent you wish you weren't by the way you communicate and getting agitated and raising your voice. You go completely against your values. So you have to decide what's more important here, the values of how you behave and showing them the way, because they are watching what you're doing more so than what you're saying a lot of the time, is finding that sweet spot, where you can educate and show them, but also obviously you're going to be there for them no matter what. But being there for them no matter what doesn't mean you just abandon all your needs.
No.
There's a place there, and like you both said, I think it's so important to know that you are worthy of taking that 5-minute break, or worthy of wearing the headphones next to them. As in our household, it's the headphone household. If my stepson's gaming, he's got his headphones on. That's just it's a pretty simple request. It's no big issue. And then I'll sit next to him, do some stuff on my computer. I might have my headphones on. My partner's got her noise cancelling headphones. We're all hanging out. We're in the same room. We're vibing off each other's nervous systems. Really beautiful. We are together as one. And then we take it all off and we'll have a little party, a little dance, whatever. And then we make it back on the headphones again. It's just making it this warm, Disney-like, absolutely fine type vibes, rather than we all have to sacrifice something to help the other people, because that's not good.
Exactly. Do you mind if I just touch on what you were saying about the headphones? Because I think that's a really beautiful point, because we all grew up with, you can't, stop, shouldn't be watching so much TV, get outside and go and play, and, don't, which it was great, fresh air and stuff, very good for you physically, mentally, being outside. But sometimes you do just need to be indoors. Some people don't like being outside, and I think that can be actually quite detrimental, especially with neurodivergent children, that especially on the autism side, that if they really don't like being outside or something, like, sometimes they can find a lot more companionship being online on a game or something, talking to people, because there's some less judge, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes less judgment, and there's that familiarity and that safety of being with your house. But you saying about all having your headphones and stuff on, I think that can be looked down upon amongst some people, a lot of people with sort of like some more traditional values, that, but if you're indoors, no screens, shouldn't be having screens, shouldn't be, why are you all indoors wearing headphones? You should all be talking to each other. And I just think it's really nice that, rather than that sort of you should be doing that, it's like, actually, you should be taking care of yourselves, and you found a way that you can all be together but still have your own space and have that bit of me time. And I think it's quite good that we talk about that. Like I said, my son, I allow him to sometimes I will plonk him in front of the TV because I need a bit of space. And he's got his own PlayStation now, and I've got him his little headphones and stuff. He loves playing Minecraft, not online, just by himself. And sometimes I'm like, I really need some me time, but I just he wants to go out, but I just can't face going outside. So it's like, go play your PlayStation for a bit if you want, mate. I think it's really good that we sort of break that stigma of headphones and screen time are a bad thing. Like, they can be such a useful tool. And the fact that you're doing it, like you said, you'll all have your headphones on, and then you take them off, you have a little party together, you have a little chat, stuff like that. I think that's I just want to touch on that and say that's really good, that it's you guys have found something, and that it's not sort of like the traditional way of doing things. But I'm not really one for traditions anyway, so I think whatever's good for you and your family is the right thing. So
yeah, I just say it's the reason for it, is why you do it, not what you're doing, it's why you're doing it. You know what I mean? If I wouldn't stick our son in front of the TV just because I didn't want to talk to him and he's doing my head in, and I'm, because that would be wrong.
Yes.
But like you say with about the headphones, before I got myself headphones, I understood about everything that I was going through. That he'll come home from school and he'll be making noise, he'll be playing on a game and making noises, which triggered me so much. And I used to be so infuriated by this noise. I used to come upstairs in the room just to get away, just because it was just so too much for me. And there we go, just me and him in the house, and he's downstairs, I'm upstairs. I'm like, no, that's not how it should be. However, headphones, I'm playing my rain. I'm down there. He's sitting next to me on the sofa. I'm reading. He's playing. We're now together, and that means more to me than what anyone says about how you should be talking and stuff like that.
That's similar to what I've done. So my living room's quite big. I've got quite a big living room. So we've got our sofa, which is actually a sofa bed, which is what I'm on right now. It's really comfy. A big TV, but the second half of the living room is where I've set up his TV, his PlayStation. He's got his beanbag chair there, and he's got headphones that he can plug in, so I don't have to listen to whatever is coming out of Minecraft and stuff. But again, rather than, oh look, mate, I need some me time, so go up to your room and hide away and play on your games consoles. We're still in the same room. We're still together. He's still, Daddy, look at this. And then, I'll sort of look over it, and then I can come back and do my thing. So again, sort of echoing what you've said, Darren, we're doing two separate things, but we're still together. And I'm really glad that you said that, because that's something that's really important to me as well. And again, the way you're talking about it is exactly how I see you smile when you're saying about it. Again, it's something that all three of us have said, is basically that, we can be doing sort of separate things, but we're together. And for any child, neurodivergent or not, that is such an important thing, that they feel that, that we're close by. We can be doing separate things, but still be close by. But I think specifically for neurodivergent children, where they don't necessarily feel included a lot of the time, and they do feel pushed out and they do feel excluded from a lot of situations, that is just another step to helping them that, okay, you can have your own time, you're doing your own thing, I'm still here, you're not shut away.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think you're spot on. It's about being together, and that can look in 100 different ways, and it can fluctuate. Like you said, one moment they'll be like, "Hey, Dad, check this out," and then you have a look, and you come back. What's wrong with that? As long as you're together, I just think as soon as you separate out, it just like my parents weren't around. Like my dad was constantly working, and my mum had two jobs. I was constantly in childminding, so I didn't really build up that sort of deep connection with them. And that's an example of not being together. If I was just in the house with them and we might be doing different things, at least they're there and I can reach out. Instead, I had to reach out to childminders and other kids. So I did have some level of micro trauma in my childhood, is not having my family there. So I think being there can look very different. And I think that's the key thing here. It's just finding your lovely little family unit, how it all unfolds. All right, next up, we have Josh here from Instagram. This is something, when he sent it, I was like, oh my God, this guy is looking at me right now, which is, I often leave little to no time to get ready, to get where they're going, and they're really struggling on how to break this habit. So, you're in the zone, doing whatever you're doing, and there's a transition time required. There's a transition to your next activity. Normally it's leaving the house, isn't it, and going somewhere, and leaving it to the very last second. I'll just do it right at the end, and then I go. This is my life. I don't know how he sees me so deeply, but with Sainsbury's and going to work, I need to be in at 8 o'clock. I'm going to set the tone. I need to be in at 8 o'clock. It is a 6-minute drive. I will have my nap until 7:40. It takes me a minute or two to get up. Oh shit, I need to get changed. And because I work in a fridge, I've got 3 layers, then a hoodie, then my jacket, right? Then I need to get my headphones, my 2 phones. I got 2 phones, long story. Grab that, put my shoes on. That takes longer than you think. And then suddenly it's 7:52. And it's only 6 minutes, but anything could happen, couldn't it? When I'm on that drive, now I've got to try and find a parking space, get into work, clock in, go to the fridge. And I always get there 8:02, 8:03. not a big deal. But why can't I just fucking leave at 7:30? It's my first swear of the show. Just bloody get up quick earlier and leave earlier. It's not complicated. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's a habit I'm really struggling to break. So, Darren, how do you find time management, time blindness, getting somewhere on time, all that kind of stuff? Or is it not even an issue for you, especially meds wise? Does it help?
I think I read this question and I thought I'm going to struggle to give advice, I think, on this one, because I guess because everything I've gone through, my RSD is over it's just stupid. And because of that, the people pleasing and all the rest, and my anxiety kicks in, stuff like that. So I overcompensate. So if I've got a time, if I'm looking just after myself, okay, not getting the son ready, and we're not going for a family day out, but it's just me. If I've got to be at work, or I've got an appointment, or I've got a job interview or something like that, I'm early. I have to be early. A job interview, I'm at least an hour early. Even if I just have to sit in a car park, because I know what I'm going to go through. I can't do that and then go for a job interview, just park up and run in. I'll be and I've done it before, and I can't do that again because of how I felt I came over. Work is 5 minutes drive, but the traffic can be bad. So I always leave at least a half an hour earlier. And sometimes I'm there just on time, and I hate that because I want to go sit in the canteen and just chill, whatever. And sometimes it takes 5 minutes and I'm just sitting at work, not getting paid, but it gives me time to relax. So I get everything for me done well in advance, because the consequences scare me if I don't, but what I would say if I'm looking at my, the son, or we're going for like a family day out, is to sort of start breaking it down into little chunks like we do for a lot of things, little tasks at a time. You can get a bag ready the day before. You can get your clothes ready, the evening before, things like that. Like I'll iron my top and all that. I go in the morning. I don't work into the evening, because I know when it comes to literally the dinner is what I'm going to have last before I get ready to go to work. And if I have to come up and then I have to do the ironing, I've got to wait for the iron to go on, and I'm just going to make me later and later. And I don't, because I'm going to start stressing now, because I don't want to be late as much as, no one really wants to go to work. I can't be late because of how it's going to make me feel and how I think people are going to judge me for being late. So I do little things at a time, just rather all in one go, because that will be too much. I can't get everything together in one go. It's just do a little bit. It depends what it is, but do a little bit in the morning, put a bag together, put a lunch together, iron your clothes, have a shower at a certain time, and that's all you're going to do. And it's break it up. So when you kind of like have that time to go, you say to yourself, all right, it's whatever o'clock. All you need to do is actually pick your stuff up and go, rather than have to then mismanage the timing of how long it's going to take to get it all together, and think, actually, now I'm going to be late because I've just left it to the last minute and I've tried to do all these things thinking it's going to take 5 minutes, and actually takes like 45 minutes. So that's my suggestion. Break up into little bits and do it at different times, so you don't stress about it, and it's not so much a big issue to do them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of like overnight oating your life, because they all talk about doing overnight oats, because then it's all ready for you in the morning. So it's doing that. And it's, just to echo that, you're right. I do that, by the way. So I'll now pack my little work bag beforehand and get my clothes all laid out on my office chair before the nap. So there's a theme today, guys, which is to understand yourself and to prep in advance to give you the best possible future for yourself, which is a gorgeous thing to be doing. So it's learning about yourself and prepping and making adjustments for yourself. And that's the theme for today. So that's really, really powerful. So Dan, what's your experience? Because I know when we did a podcast together, you were talking about how you feel about clients and when they turn up to have their tattoos done. And it always stuck with me. What you're talking about really, really stuck with me. So I'm not here to say I know what your answer is, but yeah, tell us more from you perspective when it comes to time and getting places and transitions.
So, as I said before, I'm the biggest hypocrite when it comes to this sort of stuff. I am typically late to everything. I mean, I'm surprised I got into this like 2 minutes after the time, because that's good timing for me. And I was 2 minutes late, so that was good timing. Yeah, I'm typically late for everything. The one thing I'm usually now on time for or early for is work, but that's because of other stuff. So I typically have to take my son to school, do school run in the morning, and then leave straight away. And the time my clients are usually scheduled in for is well after I'd be at work anyway. So yeah, I struggle so much with timing. So again, it's that not realizing how long every little individual bit of your task takes. Like you say, I know that my son's school is, if we drive it, it's like literally 3-minute drive, 2 minutes if everything's completely clear. It's just down the road. But it's that getting the shoes on, making sure he's got shoes, making sure his shoes are on the right feet, and then it's, I don't know where I put my keys. So then it's grabbing the keys. Oh, I forgot to fill up his water bottle. So it's, quickly filling up the water bottle. It's walking to the car. It's getting into the car. It's strapping him into the car. Like, you forget how much time these little things take. What you were saying about my work is, as much as I'm late to pretty much everything in life, I cannot stand people being late. I actually have it written into my terms and conditions. If you're being tattooed by me, if you are more than 5 minutes late to your appointment and you haven't contacted me like well in advance, there's a very good chance I'm not going to do your appointment. Doesn't mean, like, if someone's got a half day or something booked, being 10 minutes late isn't going to make a massive impact on timing as such. Like, if you've got a 4-hour session booked, that 10 minutes, which would have been prep time and stuff anyway, isn't going to make a massive difference. It's more about what it does to me mentally. I can't focus. I'm stressed. My whole routine, my whole plan for the day, which is again more for the autistic side, my whole plan for the day is now thrown out the window because you were supposed to be here at 11. It's now 8 minutes past. I can't I can't snap myself out of that. And so then I'm in such a foul mood because I'm suddenly feeling like I'm having a meltdown, and everything is like the worst it could possibly be. So you're not going to get the best work from me, and I'm very aware of that, because I'm going to be. You're not going to get good service from me. I like everyone to feel welcome and comfortable in my studio, and I am going to be off with you. I'm going to be rude. I'm not going to mean to be, but I'm so worked up because you were late. So it really winds me up. Flip side of that, if I'm in my studio, your appointment's at 11, and you knock on the door at 7 minutes to 11. Why are you knocking on my door early? This is not the time you were supposed to be here. The appointment starts at 11. I need this time. This is my time to focus. This is my downtime. You're going to stress me out if you come in. So it's, and again, I can laugh about it, and because I know how it sounds. I know how absurd it sounds. I'm late to everything, but I don't like people being late. So you'd think I want people to be early, but if you're early, that's going to wind me up just as much as if you're late. I get how it sounds, and I can have a laugh at it. But really, it is a horrible, horrible thing to live through, because I get, like, we're all having a bit of a laugh about it now and stuff, and but if I explain it to people, the first thing I get is, that's hypocritical, isn't it? God, you're just too fussy. You're just too picky. That's not very fair, is it? And why is it always on your terms? And all of these comments, or people just directly laughing in my face about it, and it's like it's almost debilitating to me, because I could be losing large amounts of money because I'm turning people away because they're a little bit late because I'm too stressed. or someone's knocked on the door early, and I am now stressed because I feel like you're pressuring me to start early. You're pressuring me when I need this decompression time before I start your appointment. Everything I do is to make sure my client gets the best experience and the best tattoo. So I've got these safeguards in place, but if people don't understand it, and this could be, again, this is not just neurotypical people, this is a lot of neurodivergent people as well, because a lot of neurodivergent people, like you were saying, Darren, have to be early. Like, they have to be there early, and because they have to be there early, a lot of people then feel like everyone should want to start early, and everyone should be. That is one of the worst things you can do to me, is try and pressure me to start early. So I give myself this very narrow window to get anything done, in terms of clients and stuff, and it's horrible. So yeah, sorry, that was a really big sort of tangent of that, obviously to do with timing still, but in terms of how do we deal with it, I wish I knew. I like to give advice where I can. I know my limitations, and this is one of the biggest struggles I have, is timing, is timekeeping. It always has been. I'm really bad. My time blindness is terrible, and no matter how many times I do the same journey, the same routine, the same things, I never know how long it's going to take. I don't know how much time has passed with things. I forget things all the time. I don't know. Yeah, time is such a weird, abstract thing for me, and it just doesn't seem to exist in a way that it does for most other people. So I've waffled on a lot. Apologize, but I sort of sharing my experience with it, and sort of hopefully, I can't remember the name of the person who asked this question, but hopefully if they're listening to this, that although I can't give advice, hopefully you realize that you're not the only one, that a lot of us are like this. Most people with ADHD are like this to some degree. There are ways around it, and Darren gave some really good advice. Unfortunately, a lot of the advice you get of stuff like that is stuff that I really struggle to do. That could be sometimes to do with the autistic side of things as well, and it's the executive dysfunction. It's the lack of dopamine to initiate tasks, and if I don't have that dopamine, but that's also, I think, as well, my body's got used to. So if you don't have dopamine, you don't have that available dopamine to initiate tasks, it's very hard and almost sometimes impossible to do those tasks. And then when you are very near a deadline, you suddenly have it, you're suddenly able to do it. It's not that you've got dopamine, it's that you've got your stress hormones, you've got your cortisol and your adrenaline pumping, which replaces that dopamine and gives you that energy boost to do it, because it's this time pressure. Because of the pressure, you get the stress hormones, so you're able to do it, but then you get that big crash afterwards. And it's not a healthy way to do it. But I think our bodies sort of know, well, if I don't get round to doing the task anyway, then eventually I'm going to get this big surge of adrenaline and cortisol, so I'll be able to do it eventually, which then makes it harder to do things like Darren was suggesting, for me personally, to get things done in advance, because my brain goes, what's the point? So,
yeah, I think it's like saying, it's about knowing yourself, and and what works, what doesn't work, and what you struggle with, and what you've got on top of. Because I'm a little bit like you in regards to, I'm okay if people turn up late as long as it's not put me out massively. 5-10 minutes is fine, but the early bit I don't know, because I need that time. I'm preparing myself for them to show up. Please don't show up early, because no. So I'll be there in like half an hour. Okay, I'm tidying up and all that, and they turn up in 10 minutes. No. Okay, I need that half an hour. I need that whole time to prep myself and get myself into that sort of zone. But also, sorry, I use my phone. I should have said it beforehand. My phone is my working memory as well, and it has been for the last sort of 20 odd years. So I've got alarms going off all over the place. But I also have alarms to let me know I need to go somewhere, do something. So I have that to keep on, and I have my phone with me all the time, and it's always on. And maybe that's a bit of a weird thing, but I'm not one of these people who will keep on dropping my phone or losing my phone. My phone is glued to me. So I have alarms going off all the time, and reminders telling me what I need to do. And like, so it's like my son as well. He goes to a specialist school. He gets brought back by a taxi, and I can never time it right to go out to greet him from the taxi. And I feel really bad that they have to bring him to the door, kind of thing. And it's where they park is like 30, 40 meters away, kind of thing. So I don't like that. So I've actually brought a tracker in his bag. And then so now I know when he's coming back, and I've put a couple of zones on the tracker. So I know when he's coming into the town. So now I know I can prepare whatever I'm doing. I could just start sort of winding down and sort myself out. It's all good. And then there's another alarm will go off on it, which that one says he's going to be here in like 2 minutes. So that's when I have to put my shoes on and get ready to go out. So I use that all the time to help me keep me, in time with what needs to be done. And the part of knowing yourself as well about putting things off. I'm not doing a washing up until the first alarm goes off for his tracker, which he's left school. So that's about 35, 40 minutes. So when that goes off, now I'm doing a washing up, because now it's like I've got to get it done now before he gets home. So that I've got that. It's not going to get done any time before that. I know that. I used to feel bad about it, and I don't know why at the time. But now with this whole urgency thing, there you go. I use it. Okay. And there's things like putting clothes away. I'm not going to do that until my wife comes home, because I'm now knowingly using body doubling.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to worry about that anymore, because I know certain things I can do at certain times. So I'll just wait for those certain times to happen to get those things done. Sorry, I just had to get that out.
Yeah.
No, it's there's something you said there and something Dan said there is really important, especially for Josh who's listening, is there's all these conflicting things happening. Darren, you're talking about your RSD kind of like being the overpowering part that stops you being late. All right, let's say you're not going to be late, so that's great. But you've got the RSDs causing that. But do you really want the RSD to begin with to then be helping you with that? And also, Dan, like you were talking about with dopamine, needing that to take action. Just think about it, action potential, that's what you need. So if we can't use that, we will use cortisol, we use adrenaline, we will use those things to get us up and running. And if you're in a stress state because you think you're going to be late, it's the ultimate chemical milkshake. We don't know we're doing it, but it's kind of naturally unfolding. It works in a way because you're creating a situation where danger is about to take place because you might get in trouble for being late. So you're releasing chemical. It's very clever. It's very, very clever. It's biology, and it's very, very clever, to be fair. And it's
very, very
how
stupid.
can you set up something that is going to push you, create dopamine maybe in advance of that naturally over time, becomes a new habitual pattern. We're very habitual, all of us, no matter what neurotype we are. So what I do is, because I know it's so important to have a circuit break before work, which is what the nap is, not nap, but lie down is all about. What I did the other day, which is incredible, so Josh sort of see this, is a little bit different. I left earlier from my partner's house, and I sat in my car for 20 minutes. It was dark, so that's good. It was quiet in the car park bit that I was in. And I just sat there for 20 minutes in the dark and silence. It was incredible. Loved it. It was just so yummy. And then I turned the engine on, then head off to work at that same time. But what I'm now doing is practicing a new habit of I sit in the car for 20 minutes. So I need to leave earlier to do that amazing, really lovely, something I'm looking forward to sit in the car in the quiet. So I'm created a new thing that I'm looking forward to. I think looking forward to stuff is quite a clever way to get around these things as well, by putting something in between, which you're pumped to be engaging in some way or another. Therefore, it kind of short circuits this habit that you've got of leaving it to the last minute. So that's kind of stuff I've been trying, and it does seem to work, because I think transition time looks very different for everybody, but I think it's an essential part of the ND experience is having your transition skills, whatever that looks like. Different things could be body doubling, even, like you said, down with gigs, is you're going with other people. So you're body doubling, you're co-regulating. I think it's just trying stuff out. Not everything's going to work, but just think of it as habitual stuff. We've become habitual to our time blindness in a way. How we've dealt with it has become a habit. So now we've layered it twice, got time blindness, and we've created a habitual pattern to deal with it, which is now so rooted in our neural pathways, it's very difficult to set the alarm earlier in my case. So yeah, lots going on there. That is a whole other show in itself. And these questions, thank you, Josh, will lead us down that road of having topics that we can discuss. Okay, next up from TikTok, we have Steve. This is a big one because we're all on different pathways in love and romance, I think. But I find dating hard as I don't know if I should mention my ND and the fear women will think I'm less of a man. So guys, let's not focus on what dating looks like, dates. Let's just focus on the question in hand here, which is, should you mention ND or not? On a first date, maybe on a second date. I think maybe omitting the information feels like maybe you're not being authentic or lying in some way. It's actually quite a big thing. It's a big part of who you are. If you mention it straight away, because they don't know you, are they going to prejudge you and go, oh God, he can't cope with life. I've heard about this. And then you've lost that potential. But if she is going to respond that way or he's going to respond that way, would you want to be with them anyway? Complicated stuff. So Dan, if we go to you as a guy on the dating scene, I don't know if you're with someone at the moment. Anyway, I'll leave that to you. But what are your thoughts here? What would you do? First date, are you mentioning it? I know you're on TikTok and they probably already know. Let's pretend you don't have that. What are you doing, mate? Are you mentioning it or are you waiting until date 2, 3? What's the plan?
So having used dating apps previously and even recently, I've even got it on there. So before anyone even, sort of potentially matches with me, it is on there. It's not a big thing of, I'm autistic, I have ADHD. It's just a little thing of, like, I think it's one of the leading questions is something I recently learned, and I've just got put that I've got a touch of autism, a dash of ADHD, or something just like, it's a little throwaway comment in there. Or I might just put, I'm neurospicy tattooist from the south. Just not making it a big deal, but saying it. I think, I really personally think it's fairly important to do so. And this all comes down to masking and unmasking. I think if you don't, and if you don't mention it with elite, even if you're not going on dating sites or dating apps, or if you meet someone in the real world, I'm not necessarily saying it's a first hour of the first date sort of thing. I'm not even saying it's the first date thing at all, but I do think it's important within the first couple of dates to mention, even if it's just sort of like a passing point, not making a big deal of it, but just it's another part of you because it is a part of you. The reason I think it's important is because, in my opinion, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to, if you're not saying it, that means you're going to be masking, and you're going to keep masking when you're dating. You're going to keep masking. Things progress. Things potentially go really well. You things get more serious, and that mask is going to start slipping, and it's going to be exhausting. And you're not being your true, authentic self, because you're keeping up this mask, and I think that's misleading if you're doing it knowingly. We all mask to a degree, and we all do it unconsciously. But if you're doing it consciously, because you don't know how this person's going to react or what they might say, I do think that's misleading because they're not getting to know the real you, and eventually that mask is going to slip. And it's going to be a big shock. And why are you suddenly acting like this? Why are you suddenly reacting like this? Why are you suddenly being like this? Or why have you been avoiding me recently? Or why has this changed? Or why is this changing? It's not that something's up or something. It's that mask is slipping, and you're now starting to show your true self. And this could be months in, and they're only just getting to know who you really are. And it could feel like they've been lied to. which again could then be to your detriment. It can end things. And also, I think if you mention it and someone does judge you on it, they're not the one for you. I'm not saying that they're a bad person at all. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of negative connotations with neurodivergence, and it's not something that people were educated on. I wasn't educated on it until anyone mentioned to me that they suspected that I might have autism and ADHD. So I wasn't educated on it that much. So it's not. I'm not saying that anyone's wrong for thinking this, that, or the other. But if you mention it and then someone's instantly put off, instead of asking questions or wanting to know more about it, wanting to learn about it, that's not the person for you, because they don't want to know. They don't want to learn this thing that is the core part of how your brain is wired. If they don't want to learn that and they want to judge you instantly for it, move on. Next one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the big question really is, are you dating neurotypicals or neurodivergent people? Because that's going to make a big difference. I now reflect, when I met my partner, we didn't know either of us were neurodivergent, but I can see exactly how we bonded, because neurodivergent people, this is very basic, but they say that we're normally drawn to each other. There's a clear, obvious, unspoken, awesome thing about how we're drawn to other NDs. It's incredible. We didn't know at the time, and then we both get diagnosed and we can see. And I'm not sure if I would want to date a neurotypical. Now, thinking about it on reflection, now I know, but then it could be awesome because they would be, in inverted commas, so on it and sorted and not having all my stuff that they would be on it, they're getting all the bills, getting all that sorted. They've got an amazing job and they know exactly how to deal with certain situations, and they know how to connect with me and give me a hug, say everything's going to be okay. So a bit of a caretakery thing, but I don't want that relationship. I don't want to be having that parent-child strange adult relationship vibe happening. But at the same time, when you're dating a neurodivergent person, depending on how it presents, it can be hard, it can be stressful, and you're having to take on the world together, which is brilliant, but also not brilliant, because it's kind of like you're both surviving together, and that can put a strain in. So I think the big question is who are you dating in the first place? And I know there are now, I think there are sites, there must be sites, right, where it's geared towards that, like neuroaffirming dating websites. That sounds incredible. And finding your ND partner, I think that's pretty cool. It's about like Christian dating, or this dating, or this dating, or this dating. It's the same thing. So there's a bit of that. So Darren, as we've both been in sort of long-term relationships, obviously, and I know your wife sounds incredible, and she sounds like she's on it, the kind of person I was describing. So I know neither of us have dated for a while, but what are your thoughts here, especially as your dynamic is very different to mine in the family home? So how do you feel about all this, really, about should you be authentic from day one, and how does that look and everything?
I think it's twofold, really. I think the first one is what Darren was saying. You don't want to deceive people. There's something massive in your life which will basically kind of mold the relationship. You can't ignore it. It is there. Whether you've got 8 kids at home, whether you've been, you can't not tell them about your kids, until 3 months down the line or something, because that's not right. You can't. You should. I think you should be open about it. However, on the flip side of that, the second bit really is, it depends really on your background, your age, what you've gone through in life, if you're comfortable enough to talk about it. My life beforehand, before I got diagnosed, I wouldn't talk about anything. I was, as a lot of people are, I was diagnosed, depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. Didn't tell family, didn't tell anyone, kept it to myself. Didn't make sense. Couldn't work it out. I'm not telling anyone about it. That's not discussion I'm going to have and stuff like that. But as soon as I got the answers from my assessment and diagnosis, I'll tell anyone. I got diagnosed. I told the family. As soon as I got to work, told work. It's just, I'll talk about this because I've got answers. I know everyone is different, but I am comfortable talking about me and my ADHD. But there's a lot of people who are not. So if I was dating, I would say it on the first date. You know, again, like I said, that don't make a big thing about it, but I'm comfortable doing that. But also at the same time, I guess going through with the podcast and all that as well, I understand if we want to make a change, we've got to educate people. So if someone's very standoffish and, oh no, I don't think that's really real or whatever it is, as infuriating it is as the concept that society is like that, the first thing I want to do is educate. You know, we can't expect people to change without a little bit of education. You know, so I would be very open, like, you know, I have ADHD. I'm quite happy for you to ask me any questions. Nothing is, you know, off the table. If you've got anything, any thoughts about it, just ask. I won't be offended or anything like that at all, because I want to educate. So I would be honest, because the downside of not doing that, if your RSD is off the chart and you get 3 or 4 weeks down the line and all that stuff starts to happen, and she's like, no, or he's like, no, don't want to have this, sorry, bye. Oh man, that's a huge, because there might have been a lot of investment in emotions from, you know, love bombed this new person in my life who's just kicked me, you know, out, and like, no, I don't want this ADHD thing. Don't believe it. I don't know why you're acting like this, because you weren't doing this on the first date and stuff like that. You're not who I thought you were. Oh man, that would destroy me. That'd be awful. And I'm pretty sure that was sort of stuff that subconsciously happened before in previous relationships, you know, although we didn't know what's going on. But no, you got to have the right person. You got to have the right person. I'm sick of having the wrong person. And my wife, I mean, I'm older, so life experience is a little bit longer than you whippersnappers. And I gave up, and I met my wife, and she is the only person right from the very beginning that I never want to have or never need to have any time from. She's not neurodivergent, but she is a calm person. She's kind of cool, calm, collected, thoughtful, not a lot of words, which is great. And that's what I needed. Of all the relationship that I'd had, very typical neurodivergent or ADHD relationship background, I realized that what I want and what I need, and not just what I want. Okay, because we go for what we want a lot. But I realized in the end that there's what I need and what I don't need. You know, so I had a whole big tick box, a mental tick box of what I need and what I don't need. And she was just everything that I needed, and she added some boxes and just ticked those as well. And I remember one time she came around to mine, and I'm just thinking, I'm just after work, I'm just exhausted, and you know, I just needed time out on my own. I just don't want to speak to anyone. I'm really overwhelmed, lots of noise at work. I just need. And she came over. Oh, I opened up the door to her, and as soon as I saw her, I was just like, she just calms me. So I never need any time away from my wife. But that's kind of, for me, that's what I needed as well as what I wanted. I just don't want to keep on going down that line of having just what I want. You got to look at what you need, and if you don't match, you don't match, and it's okay. You should be okay with the fact that, hey, you know, I don't want a party animal. All right. So if I go out on a date, which would be a bit weird because my wife won't be happy. Um, so if I go on a date, you know, if someone if she is an absolute party animal and she likes to freak out every Friday and Saturday night and get wasted, I want to know that on the first date. I want to, because I don't want to, I don't, you know, that's a big hurdle for me. And I'm happy for people want to do that. But the expectation for me to do that as well. Why don't you come out with me on a Friday night? Why don't you come out? And I'm not gonna do it. I'm not, you know. So that is a big thing that we would have to tackle. So I wouldn't know that at the beginning. So yeah, I'd be open personally, but be prepared for the knockbacks. But those knockbacks are the people that you don't want to be with. You shouldn't be with. That was a
Yeah.
really long way of saying that. Sorry.
No, I did think we won't give it justice if we rush through it anyway. But I just think, you know, just to wrap all this up, you know, from what people may know about love languages, you know, words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time spent, gift giving, you know, they talk about the love languages. I really wish there was a love language but for like an ND affirming one where there might be like 10 different things as a love language. I'm not making a joke about this because it would be really powerful. So all that matters in relationships really is what you know your needs are. So that's needs from a partner, but also the needs that you have for yourself. I think with ND, needs for yourself is probably as important as we talk about parenting as it is the needs from the partner. So the kind of partner you're with, also knowing that if you need solitude, that means that even though you love quality time, solitude is so, so vital for you to turn up in that relationship in the best way. So I think understanding the kind of relationship you want is more important than anything here. So I think important about the ND in the first date is more to be as really open as you can without saying, hey, by the way, if we got together, this is the list of what happens in the relationship, because that's a bit weird. But it's less about the name and the diagnosis and the word ND or neurodivergent. It's more about, yeah, it can be fun with it and saying I'm neurospicy and all that. But what people really want to know is what drives you. What do you care about? What are your passions? ND, especially well, actually in all neurotypes, really, is this deep passion for things. That's very attractive. If you find something that's into what you're into and you can talk about it for hours, that's very attractive. It's very bonding. That's what really matters. And if that's fueled by your neurodivergent brain, awesome, because they're as passionate about it as you, whether they're neurotypical or whatever. So I think your love languages, your needs are as important as mentioning that on the first date. And I think by just saying that you can then have a lovely chat about what that looks like. And you can say, would you like me to explain how that looks like? And they'd be like, that's really interesting. So then you might have a neurotypical that's like really engaged in it, which is incredible. And a neurodivergent person is probably going to be like, yeah, cool. Yeah, let's compare. Let's get our lists out. So it's a win-win. But if you've got a neurotypical going, oh, that shit, yeah, everyone's getting overdiagnosed. It's like, I'm just gonna leave now. Wish you well. And then you just got it all out the way because our time's really important to us. So I think your needs and how life unfolds is the most important thing you can share. And it is underpinned by ND. So it's a very interesting one. We may cover more like that on this in the future, but that was beautiful, guys. That was beautiful. So I hope that was useful. Steve, let us know. But that kind of wraps us up here today, guys. I had no idea how long this was going to last, and I'm sure people at home, you could listen to the whole thing, which I certainly would, or I'd break it up over a few days. Either way, if you're driving right now, drive safely. If you're at work, hope it's going well. And we're here to keep you entertained. So that wraps up today's topic and our questions. So we're going to end every episode of the ND and Free chat show, so to speak, with a quiz. But I wanted to make sure that ND was included in this. So it's a special interest quiz. So sometimes it'll be my interest. It might be Dan giving us some questions about his interests. It could be someone from Patreon. So really, really fun. So I've got 4 questions for you guys. So play along at home if you like. So this is my special interest. So I absolutely adore films. I've been watching films since 2 years old, I've probably seen thousands of them. My dad was a film reviewer. He used to take me to press shows, and I was the cool guy in school that had seen the film before anyone else because he'd take me to press stuff and premieres and all that. I grew up with a dad who adored movies. So I did film studies, college course, and I need to distract my brain. I'm a big overthinker. Brain's always on the go, and films just they suck me in. I'm so invested. I'm crying in the crying scenes. I'm buzzing and shaking in the action scenes. I just fully get in there, which is why I don't do horror, because I would be way too invested and it would be horrendous. So to this day, I think watched 2 horror films in my lifetime, which is a bit sad, but I'm obsessed. I've had a podcast for a year talking about films as well. So these are your 4 questions, guys. Are you ready?
Yes, that was the first question.
Yes, that's question 1. So some of them are like, what's this film? Some are like, how many of these has there been? And stuff like that. Just for fun, really. So don't shout it out or anything. I will ask you individually as we do it. And be truthful. To say, well, he just said what it was. So here's your first question. What 2 of these 4 franchises / multiple movie series are my favorites? So a bit random. You're going to get to know me here today. Is it the DC universe? So DC Comics, Batman and all that. So the DC universe, the Marvel universe, the MCU, the John Wick movies, Keanu Reeves, or Star Wars. So what 2 of those 4 do you think I'm obsessed with and I love the most? So I'll get you both to take turns and I'll give you the answer. Dan, what do you think of my top 2? From what you know about me.
I was thinking there were two things, 2 of the answers you gave. I was thinking it was got to be one or the other before you gave any of the answers. I was like, if he mentions one of them, I'll know it's that, and you mentioned both. So, I want to say Marvel or DC. I want to say Marvel or DC are going to be one of them. I'm leaning more towards DC. I don't know why, because most people go Marvel. I want to say DC and John Wick.
Okay, Darren, what are you saying?
Yeah, I will go with Star Wars and John Wick.
Well, you both got a point each, so you both walk away with a draw there. It's actually Marvel, obsessed with Marvel. Not the last year or 2, because it's been an absolute crock of shit, but the original lot. And John Wick, I am obsessed with John Wick. So you both get a point. I do like the other 2, but I love fight films. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just a messed up human being. I like to see all this violence. It's not about that. It's just that excitement, you're shaking. Oh yeah, go on, get him. It's not that I'm a violent person. It's just there's some sort of hyper dopamine thing about it. So that's why really.
Do you realize that? Sorry, I'm just talking about the subject of the fight films. And I like it, and it works really well. A lot of the main characters in these fight films are older. The John Wicks, the oh my god, it's all gone out of my head now.
No, you're right. They do tend to be older.
Well,
you don't get a 21-year-old
Taken and all that lot, and it's all they're all older, and it just works really, really well. The Equalizer, that's the one. Denzel Washington, love it. It works really well, rather than the younger people doing it. That's my thought, anyway.
Yeah, I think it's also justice sensitivity. I love the way we're just whacking ND into all of these film questions. But justice sensitivity is like one of my biggest things of my ND. So I think this, revenge movies, you killed my wife, I'm going to take you all down. I love those films because I think there's part of me that's like, justice at last in a world that is not that I'm going to go and kill anybody, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feeds into something you're passionate about, I suppose, which is justice, not the fighting. So yeah, let's end all these questions, guys, as we go. All right, you've got 1 point each. There is a league, by the way, because I'm a competitive guy. So we'll see by the end of the year which one of you is on top. And me when I get to get involved. So your next question. How many Marvel films have there been, guys? So in the MCU, since Iron Man in 2008, how many films have there been? Do not Google it. I will know. Is there 29, 34, or 37 MCU movies? I'll give you a minute or 2. Not a minute, that'd be a bit much. So dead air for the podcast. Enjoy, everyone.
What, like I'm actually going to start remember them all and count them all up right now.
Yeah.
I give you time to count through. Make sure you do it in timeline order, please. But yeah, who guessed last time first? I can't remember. I think it was Dan. So Darren, what is your number? 29, 34, or 37?
I'll go 34.
Okay, Dan?
I'm going to go 29.
29, do you say?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. You're both incorrect. It's 37 films. Now we put Thunderbolts on and all the latest stuff, Captain America, Brave New World. So yeah, 37 films. So when my stepson is ready and he's the right age, we are going to have one hell of a journey on our hands. So he's so excited, but he's just a tiny little bit too young. But when I was a kid, I was watching all kinds of crazy shit way too early. But that was that generation, I think, for sure. All right, so it's still 1-1 because you didn't get any points on that one. So can you name this Disney Pixar movie based on the storyline? Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Despite his family's generations-old ban on music, young Miguel dreams of becoming an accomplished musician like his idol, Ernesto de la Cruz. Desperate to prove his talent, Miguel finds himself in a stunning and colourful land of the dead. After meeting a charming trickster named Hector, the two friends embark on an extraordinary journey to unlock the real story behind Miguel's family history. So, Going to the Dead, all based around music and family history. Dan, any ideas? I've gone a bit niche here on purpose.
Yeah.
It was about 4 or 5 years ago. Doesn't matter if you don't know. All will be revealed.
No, the only thing I can sort of picture not one that I've seen, but I can picture.
He's holding his Katona.
Yeah, I cannot think of the name. Yeah,
Darren?
the name, but I annoyingly I know what it is, but I can't think of the name.
This reminds me of my education. I'm sitting in class, I'm looking at the teacher, and they've asked me a question, and I'm going, I don't know what you're talking about. Nope, that description doesn't help me. Haven't got a clue.
All right.
Hotel Transylvania. There you go.
Well, not a bad shout. Not a bad shout.
No idea.
They're good movies. I think there's 4 of those. The film is called Coco. So,
yeah,
great movie, beautiful, crumbling little eyes out. It's gorgeous stuff.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's called Coco. Check it out, Darren. It's really, really good.
Okay.
And the same name as my cat, so I could have said it's got the same name as my cat, but then you might not even know that anyway. But he's Coco with a K, 2 Ks, just so everyone's aware. Important to know. All right. Well done, everyone. It's 1-1. It's gone very well so far. So this is your last one of the episode, and then we'll be signing off. So can you name two of the 4 main guys or the female lead? So it's need 2 names altogether from Anchorman, the first one. So I'm looking for the actors' names. So now I'll let you have a little think on that. 2 of the 5 leads in Anchorman. So who did I ask first and last time? I think it's Darren again. So Darren, any ideas? Can you give me 2 names? And obviously, Dan, be really truthful if you had the same name or whatever.
You want me to write them down just so you know I'm not cheating?
Yeah, write them down. Write them down.
I can picture the person.
I'm realizing this is a mean quiz because I guess some of us are visual, aren't we? And some of us,
words, it's go on.
No worries. All good, because if Dan doesn't get it, then we end up 1-1. Fantastic. Right, Dan.
So we've got Christina Applegate.
Nice.
Will Ferrell.
Nice.
Was it 2 that you wanted?
2, but keep going.
And I have to say Steve Carell.
Lovely.
As well. And Paul Rudd.
Yeah, you're right, mate. All right.
Jesus Christ, this guy is.
Yeah.
And the other guy, no one ever remembers the other guy, you know?
I had to make up for getting it wrong on the coin flip on DC and Marvel, so I'm going off now.
Yeah, you only get 1 point, sadly. But the other guy was David Kosher. He's sort of like the forgotten name, which is sad. Anyway, I'm obsessed with that film, so I had to chuck it in there. But yeah, good fun. We're going to have a different topic every time, guys. So sometimes Darren will be like really knowledgeable on that, and then Dan might be more, and I might not know anything. Sometimes one of these guys will be hosting the quiz, which would be super cool. Though I hate being the quiz, the quizzy. I like to be the quiz master. I like to be in control, ND style. And I'm a showman by heart. I've always been a showman, so I love being a quiz master. Amazing stuff. So just a little bit of fun at the end there. We did ND it up, which is fantastic. Just adding that into the mix. But yeah, this has been incredible. We had no idea where this was going, and tomorrow I'm recording with the girls, so I can't wait to see what happens with us three then. But overall, I really loved what we talked about here. I think it's going to work really, really well. I really hope everybody at home has gained a lot from this. So Dan, as an overall experience, I know obviously it's really lovely to be able to share with each other, but how have you found this, and what are your hopes for our show?
I've loved it. This, as you said, we didn't know how this was going to go. We didn't know, sort of stepping into it, how it was going to be. It's been great. It's been really nice. It's been really nice getting to know you, Darren. And
likewise.
Thank you. And it's great hearing the similarities between us, but also the differences.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone here's got ADHD, but hearing how some of us got very similar traits. Some things are complete opposite, and that's what I find fascinating about neurodivergence. It's not just this person's got autism, so these two people got autism, so they're the exact same, or these two people have ADHD, so it's like never like that, And so it's been fascinating. It's been really fun, and it's, even though we've covered a lot of sort of deep topics and sort of had some deep and depth chats, for me personally it hasn't felt heavy. It has still felt quite light and quite fun, and and the quiz at the end as well, sort of break it all up a bit and then end on a high, and a bit of competitiveness. I've loved it. So thank you for getting this started.
No worries, man. No worries. It's been an amazing year last year, getting to meet all these people on the journey, and to have 4 of you willing to jump on this and see where it takes us is great. So Darren, obviously I know you're a podcaster anyway, and you've been doing it quite a while, and it's a fantastic show, and you're a great host. How does it feel to be part of like a different version of a podcast, and how's that been?
No, it's been good. But just like all the podcasts, I know I need to have some quiet time now. Just to chill and just stop my head from thinking as much. But no, this has been really enjoyable. I enjoyed talking about it. It's a topic that I am fascinated by, and it's nice to talk to other people and, like, say, hear other people's experiences. And like you said, Dan, sometimes, you can relate really, really well, and sometimes it's completely opposite. And I think the relating bit is more therapeutic for me. It's a form of therapy. But I find the opposite that's the fascinating bit. How can you feel and do this, and I don't feel that, and how I feel this and you don't, and I find that really, really interesting.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, thanks so much, Darren. And just in that comparison, just let people know in the show notes, if I remember, just remind me if I haven't, me and Darren did an episode right at the beginning of about a year ago now, where we compared, didn't we? We looked at your inattentive and my combined, and we got a traditional list off the internet, and we both compared. But it's a very popular show. I think it's in the top. I think it might be like 6th most listened to out of the 50. So it's done really, really well. People want to hear that kind of. I think I want to do more of that in the future. I think it's quite a cool idea, especially with autism. I would like to do an episode, seeing where it crosses over and how it can look the same on both sides and things like that. That'd be incredible. So before we go, Dan, just let us know where we can find you and what you're up to. We did talk about at the beginning, but this is just your chance to tell us where exactly you hang out.
Thank you. I mainly on TikTok. So my account is at AuDHD_. So it's AUDHDAN_. And I'm just putting out content mainly about autism, ADHD, and just my experiences. How I found it, how I found things like diagnosis, any traits that I have. I put out some funny stuff, some relatable stuff, some serious in-depth stuff. Recently done a couple of videos, one talking about accessing the right to choose. So anyone who wants to get a diagnosis but they're not sure how to access the right to choose pathway, I've done a video on that. Done a video that was really popular, reaching out to children and parents of neurodivergent children, and just sort of letting them know that they're not alone, that there's a whole community of people like us out there that have got their back, that support us, and sort of really encouraging them. And the big thing I'm doing is my lives every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8:30 in the evening UK time. Just hosting an ND drop-in, and anyone's welcome. Neurodivergent, neurotypical, anyone is welcome. And people come in, they have a chat in the comments. They might come up on screen and ask questions. They might ask questions in the comments, and I do my best to answer everything I can. That could be anything about my personal experiences, or people might ask for advice, signposting, or just to explain certain traits of autism and ADHD, what it means, why we experience things, how we experience them. And a lot of the time, if I don't know the answer, then there'll be someone else within the comments that does, either one of my other followers or another creator. So I'll signpost people to other pages as well. They've been very popular. We've built up a really strong community. And from that, I think in almost every single live, people have found others within the comments or up on the screen that they go, I'm experiencing that, I'm going through that. Had two lovely people in the comments yesterday that said that they both experience tics, facial tics, and people would mistake that for flirting and winking at each other, and so that garners a lot of unwanted attention. And we just so happen to have two people having the same experience, and now they've started following each other. They're now talking, and everyone's forming little friendships and going off and having their own little groups now as well, and everyone's finding support and comfort. A lot of people are understanding a lot more about themselves, their children, their friends, their family, and it's just a really nice space to be involved in and to have created. So that's Monday to Thursday, 8:30 in the evening UK time, over on TikTok on AuDHD_.
Amazing stuff. Thanks so much. Yeah, like I said, I hopped on one yesterday and it was really, really fascinating and interesting and really fun too. And I really encourage, I'm trying to do lots of stuff with ND and Free, but I think taking on things like that is too much. I think it's important to split energy into multiple NDers and us all working together as one. So I plan to be on some of those lives if I can. This time popping up on screen, it was midnight and I was too scared basically. I was in my Oodie and I was relaxed and it was dark and I thought, I don't want to put my camera on. But that was fine. But watch your space, guys. Me and Dan may end up doing like one-off daytime lives, ND and Free, combined with what you're doing, Dan, and we can do like a special, like the chat show live, for example. Could be really cool. So watch your space. So that's all links in the show notes. So Darren, obviously I know your podcast will be back soon. Obviously you're doing a support group. So whatever you want to share, let's tell us where we need to go.
Okay, yeah. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. TikTok is Me and ADHD podcast. On Instagram, it's me.and.adhd.podcast, and I've put the dots in because when you put Me and ADHD podcast together, it looks like Mean Dad HD. Someone pointed that out to me. I was like, oh yeah, that looks really bad, doesn't it? So I haven't changed on TikTok yet, but so I'm on there. I've just done my third season of the podcast, and what I do is kind of bring people on, and a lot of people who come on are just starting to like come out of their shell, I guess, and it's their first time speaking about it. I like to give people a platform to, talk about their own experiences, sometimes about their life, sometimes it's just a part of a certain aspect of ADHD. And I'm starting to get more and more sort of specialists in different areas to come on as well to talk about how they're involved in our journey, basically. I had a GP, actually your GP trainer, come on and talk about the GP's role within the ADHD journey, because I want the truth to come out, I guess. I want the factual aspects of what the GP does and doesn't do, can and can't do, regards to ADHD. Because a lot of people, there's a lot of disinformation out there, and a lot of stuff going out there, but people blame everyone for everything, because we don't know anything. So we need to educate. You need to know what the different people do, what the departments do, and if you're going to blame someone, make sure you blame the right person, basically. So there's a lot of things I found out about GPs, what they can and can't do and how they work. That's really fascinating. But I'm looking at getting people on from CAMS and things like that to talk about their side and what, again, a factual aspect of it, as opposed to an emotional sort of episode. This is what we do. This is how it is. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do, kind of thing. And it's all just like information that we need for our journey. Because like a lot of people, I don't know about yourself, Dan, but when you start that journey, and especially looking at kids, nothing, and no one tells you where to go. And I did a lot of research for my son when we're going down that way. I don't read. Okay, it was hell trying to intake information, doing all this stuff. So this is what I like to do. I want to educate people as much as I can about the factual aspects of ADHD and living with ADHD. So they're the social media platforms I use. What else? Oh, yeah. And if you're in the UK and in Oxfordshire, I started a support group up, a peer-to-peer support group called the Wandering Minds Collective. And we meet on a monthly basis. We're online, we've got a private chat group, and we have an in-person meeting on a monthly basis, but we have an adults journey and a parent and carer journey. So we basically get together and we talk about everything, life. We have a subject, the main subject that we go on about, and then we, diverse as we do, and start talking about other things. But it's a way for everyone to meet other people and relate, and to get to know that you're not alone, which is one of the most important things, and everyone in the group, and the group is growing all the time, are in different parts of the journey, from being diagnosed and medicated for years to literally just started on the waiting list, so it's for everybody on the journey, and it's the best thing I've ever done, I think. So that's a huge thing. So yeah, if you are in Oxfordshire, by all means, give us a shout. I've got, I'll give you Owen the details for it. So yeah, that's where I am.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, amazing. I just want to thank both of you for all the work that you're doing in the community. Like I say to all my guests on the one-to-one episodes as well, like we need as many of us out there doing what we're doing. So thank you for the different pockets of the world and the internet that you're tapping into. And Darren, I'm looking forward to you having groups all over the country run by different people in each city. I cannot wait for you to take over the UK with your amazing support groups. And for Dan, I can't wait for you to have 1.2 million followers on TikTok, all joining your lives and feeding all of that traffic to my podcast. So I thank you in advance for hooking me up. But yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate, obviously, guys, in the next few episodes, we won't be going into so much depth about what we're all individually doing. This is how we kick off on episode 1 or 2 in this case. So you get to find out more about these guys. So yeah, get to know us. We're all on the same page and we're all individual personalities. So just that's what I love about group podcasts. You kind of just love listening in, don't you? Especially on football ones. I love listening to 4 people talking about football. I find it really fascinating. But that's it. We'll wrap up here. And as far as my pitch goes, just being straight up honest with you guys. Obviously, these are once a month. So us guys, and I mean the girls, once a month. If you're loving it and you want more, I can't do it without you helping us. So if you do sign up to Patreon, it's completely free. But if you did want to sort of donate, so they're like donation monthly subscriptions on Patreon. They're more of a donation. So we'll give you shout outs on the show. So us guys will give you a big shout out on here as one of the little benefits. But it's not there's a benefits or anything. It's you donating because you want to support ND and Free and try and help us reach more people. The more money it makes, especially if you buy our merchandise. If you buy our merchandise, then bits of that become profit. I can then put that into the business to create time. So if you can provide me with time, I can do more shows. It could be with these guys. We can do it more often. I could have another panel. Can't do without you guys. I work full time. I'm a stepdad, and I'm often just quite overstimulated. I need lots of quiet time. So you need to help me do less shifts so I can do more of this to help more NDers. I'm being straight up honest. Your money creates time. Your donations mean everything. So just bearing in mind. And if you want to buy stuff that I'm connected to, like Chill Zone's magnet fidgets, I get profit commission off that. So any way you could help means that us free would have more time. I can even pay these guys one day. That would be my dream.
Hey,
Yeah.
Money. But anyway, let's wrap up with the official stuff. So thank you to everyone listening. We really hope this podcast episodes help you. And thank you to all of those that help us grow this social movement. That's what we are. If you stick around after the outro music, you can learn more about how you can help us and also find out more about the things that can help you, e.g. fidget toy companies. And this could be our own offerings or from our partners. So just stick around. It's not like loads of adverts. I'm just going to do one advert for everything and I'll update it over time. So just tune in and you have codes and links and you get loads of discounts and stuff like that. So yeah, the more you can help us, the more we can do. Pretty simple. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for more ND Chat. Hey everyone, and thank you so much for listening. And here's your chance to find out more about what ND and Free is doing and how you may be able to support. This whole thing doesn't really function without all of you, really, listeners, followers on social media, our patrons. The idea is that we all come together as this social movement to raise awareness to all the NDers across the world about being free of shame, being free from the burden of trying to fit in, and also free from the burnout caused by not honouring our needs. We do it together by raising awareness of the ND and Free mission. There's other ways you can help us as well, do that and be part of this community. And it's not just you helping us in the shadows, it's a chance for you to be a voice on all of this, to be a face of this movement. I think there's some real value in us taking part and offering in that allows us to sort of kind of in some ways heal ourselves from all of the times we've been told we're not good enough. And this is a way for us to stand in our power. And a good way to help us is to get involved in some things that we're doing. So if you head over to in the show notes, you'll see a Linktree address for ND and Free, and on there you've got all the links you would need for doing this. So go and check that out. If you don't want to listen to this, head over to Linktree and then you can just have an explore for yourself. So some of the key things is you can join our Patreon page, which is our community in a safe place away from social media channels and platforms. So on there essentially is where you go to offer up questions, to have a discussion on our podcast wellbeing shows, send your experiences that we can read out and discuss. So basically anything that you want to say in and around neurodivergence, me and our panel will, or two sets of panels, will talk through what you bring up. That's where you would go to have us read out your questions and things. So head over there for that. And on there also we will have the latest news and what's happening, but also a chance for you to engage in our weekly topics. So we'll bring up a topic and we all share how we help ourselves. Very positive space. It's not a support group. It's not a coaching program or anything like that. It's us all helping each other to find a way through traditional ND presentations. So we're all kind of coaching each other in a way, rather than it being somewhere that we vent. And it's how hard is everything. It's also about we're important that we are putting the right foot forward and all helping each other to get better. Which is amazing. It's called completely free. Doesn't cost anything. I want it to be accessible, but there are 2 membership options if you wanted to, which are like monthly donation membership. So it's a donation rather than a subscription. You get all this stuff. You're donating because you believe in what we're doing. So there's a £3 one and an £8 one. And the main benefit from those is that we'll do a big shout out for you on our podcast and shout out on social media for the £8 option. So it's just if you believe in what we're doing in that onto that level and you want to push the movement forward, basically time creates money. I'm doing this all by myself. It's a lot of work, but I want it to grow. But to do that, we need to create funds, raise money, so I have more time to do more podcasts and to put more content and to come up with new ideas, workshops, groups, whatever it may be in the future. I can't do that while I'm pretty much, working full time and not the best paid job in the world. So having to do lots of overtime. So I just don't really have much time. And with your help, we can put money into this business and into this social movement, make a real change. So only if you can. It's absolutely zero pressure there. Another way to help us is on our Shopify shop. So it's the ND and Free store. It's available on Shopify if you search ND and Free, or on the plugin app payment service Shop, which it's just called Shop, and you go on there and you'll find it there. So there you can buy hoodies, you can buy t-shirts, you can buy mugs, you can buy tote bags. And the idea of that is because it's got the ND and Free logo on it, the statement. It's like you're going into the world saying, I am neurodivergent, I am free of the burnout, free of the shame, free of the burden. So it's a way of standing in your power, but also raising awareness of the brand. It's perfect. So the people are, oh, what's that? They come listen to the show, and then we get a new member of our community. So go check that out. It's all done via Shopify through a third party. So it's all done for me, thank God. So it all gets printed and sent to you. So go and check that out. Be so grateful. The profit made from it is put back into ND and Free, which is amazing. Another way to help us is visiting chillzones.co.uk. So this is a fidget tool based website. Amazing team over there. So a lot of their stuff is based on magnets. So chill balls and boulders, which are like, they've got rubber outside and they're magnets, and you can flick them and roll them, and obviously the magnets sit together. They're so amazing. I use them all the time. I've got 4 next to me here, 4 packs of them. Me and my family love them. So like magnet fidgets, and they do other fidget toys as well. And best of all, if you use my code Owen15 at checkout, so that's Owen15 at checkout, you can get 15% off, which is great. And obviously then I get a commission, and then we can put that into ND and Free. So you're really helping out there as well. And another way to support us is through Ankway mushroom gummies. So these are 10 functional mushrooms all put into a gummy that looks a little bit like a wine gum. It's really tasty. And they're always improving the ingredients, and they just got rid of all the palm oil that's in them. So that's gone now, and they keep increasing and making these gummies really, really tasty. And what's really good is they can be really helpful for the neurodivergent brain, because these functional mushrooms really help with that, but also with digestion and immune system. I've been working with them for about 9 months, and they're brilliant. I take them every day, and they have generally really helped me, especially with my emotional regulation and mood. It seems to have settled some of my systems down. Doesn't work for everybody, but it's working for pretty much everybody I've spoken to that use them. So that's anchorway.com, and you can check that out on our link tree as well. And if you follow the link on our link tree page, you'll get 15% off your order on there as well. And again, commission comes in, and we put that back into ND and Free. So there's the 2 companies that you can check out, and I look to partner with lots of other companies in the future. So this was kind of a advert / update on everything. So you'll hear this each time you listen to a show, if you want to remind yourself of what I've said. But this is mostly for new listeners. So I hope this is all helpful. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you for all your support with everything that we're doing here in the community. And I cannot wait to get to know you and your voice, and being able to share that with the world. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.